our Masters podcast, and 2 segments left here along with Phil Iacovino. This is Jason Iacovino, and Phil, we were talking about the Twins during the last segment. We're going to get back to golf here in a second, but I've been paying more attention to the Timberwolves this year than I ever have really in my life. Even when KG was in his prime, I don't think I paid as much attention as I have this year. Just because my 6-year-old wants to watch them every time they're on. He knows more about them than I do.
Probably most likely than I do then, because I've only watched maybe 10 games all season.
Okay, but Jimmy Butler is back now, and they've got a chance to make the playoffs, fighting for that 8th seed, which, for this franchise to make the playoffs this year is a goal worth shooting for. And then you've got the Wild, who are already in the playoffs, and for them, based on the veteran roster that they have and the coach that they have, you'd think anything less than a Western Conference Finals appearances would be disappointment for them.
Oh, I think who are they going to end up playing? Houston or Golden State in the first round, most likely?
Wild?
The Wild.
I'm talking about the Wild.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were talking about the Wolves for a Western Conference Final.
No,
I was like,
absolutely not.
We're not there yet.
No, I just want to make the playoffs with them.
No, I mean, The as far as the Wild concerned, the window is closing. I mean, we've lost Suter for the season. He broke his ankle, or one of those bones down there. I'm not even sure which one it is. But Parisi's come back nicely. Had a great second half since his injury returned. And Stahl, who is our best scorer, he's old too. So, and Zucker has played nicely. Granlund's played very nicely. But we have lost our top defensive men. Our two, essentially our 2 second half, the guys that have played the best in the second half are old. So the window is closing on this team's opportunities. And I think you're right. I think we definitely are going to need to see a Western Conference Final in order for the fan base to believe that, yeah, this team gave us a decent shot at getting to a Stanley Cup Final because, it's nice. It's a nice problem to have in Minnesota to have a team that's made 4 consecutive playoff appearances. Like, that's not something we have become accustomed to with our professional sports teams. But it gets old after a while, maybe, just to, either first or second round and you're out. So I would think that their opportunity is now. And if they don't take advantage of it, you're going to see a very different roster next year.
Absolutely. So as we bring this back to golf now, because that's about as much time as I want to spend.
And that's 15 seconds of hockey and 3 seconds of Wolves. Who, by the way, Jimmy Butler played on Friday, correct?
Correct.
Why couldn't he have played on Wednesday?
You're asking the wrong person. I don't know.
Because they lost that game Wednesday. And that was huge.
Nice shoes, Bubba. So Bubba is 7 under through 9. He's on the fringes, but I'll tell you what. Since our last segment, Phil, things have gotten tighter here. Patrick Reed bogeyed number 6. He's back down to 13 under, and you've got 2 guys at 10 under, Spieth and Rahm, within 3 shots of the lead. Rory still 2 back at 11 under. That's your
just comfortable on the first page, not flirting with anybody, but just likes to be on that
Fowler,
first page.
Yeah, he's 5 back at 8 under, but this is suddenly. This is game on, and as we're seeing, Reed now is in the second cut on number 7, just a short little, wedge or something into this green. But as this, again, this is with my, of course, I know everything, right? So I know exactly what's going to happen. But sort of my thought heading into today that the further we get along this afternoon, and the further that the lead gets condensed, the more it's going to be very difficult for Patrick. Patrick Reed's going to have to make a birdie at some point.
You're a big believer in the
I'm not saying
the tournament doesn't start until the second night.
That's my point.
Well,
I'm not saying anyone's going to choke. I'm just going to say he's going to have to make
all
birdies.
of this will be decided afterwards, so I don't want to just call play-by-play golf here, but I will say this. We saw that eagle from Tiger on 15 just as we got back from golfing. And that's that was basically foresight of what could happen down the stretch here. The pins on 13 and 15, typically on Sunday, are accessible.
Sure.
They want guys to go for it. They want them to, have a great chance at making eagle. If
look at the shot by Reed here. Look at this. His second shot on 7 is trickling back towards the hole. Could be an eagle, and he'll have a 3-incher for birdie on 7.
Another very traditional pin placement on 7 for Sunday. They throw it on just over that bunker but the players know that you just throw it on top of that shelf and just feed it back down. But
boy, that was out of the second cut, which
anybody within 3 or 4 going into the second 9 has a chance.
And now Rory looks like he has to keep this low under a tree. He also is in what Nick Faldo mistakenly called the rough yesterday. But, I mean, there is no rough. I mean, the second cut is obviously just...
Yeah, I mean, you can see 3/4 of the ball.
Right.
It's probably,
And a guy like
it's a municipal
Patrick Reed
fairway.
can just back one up like he just did on that second shot. But that's going to be one of the shots of the tournament if he ends up winning.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, well, I guess yesterday he had some very good shots.
But this is twice now in the first 9 where Reed's lead shrunk and then he immediately made birdie, the next hole to get it back to the 3-shot lead. Boy, that's got to run.
Nowhere.
Where is that going? Little low shot by Rory. Boy,
Boy,
that's got a chance.
He did.
Go!
Oh.
Little short, but still a pretty good shot. But
well, he's going to be down 3 after.
Yeah,
this
he'll make par. But Reed, like we said, has got a 3-incher for birdie. It'll be fun, but I would like to see at this point either Rahm or Spieth make a move out in front of him. I mean, that would be kind of fun too.
Yeah, I think of those two, I said it earlier, Spieth has the best chance. A, he's got the experience. B, this is a course that he does very well on. So let's kind of set the scene for the rest of the majors here. You've got the U.S. Open at Shinnecock.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Carnoustie hosting the Open, I believe, this year. And then the PGA. Boy, I'm not sure where the PGA is at.
I don't know either.
And I'm surprised I don't know that. I should know that.
I'm surprised you don't know it too.
Anyway.
You could tell us where the LPGA is playing this week, I bet.
They're playing in Hawaii, Ko'olina. Played that course a couple times, actually. It's really tough. But Lefty will be making his return to Long Island where he has a chance to close out the career Grand Slam. Do you see depending on if things kind of stay chalk, is the hype going to be as much as it was going into the U.S. Open, as much as it was here for Augusta to have those guys, your Tigers, your
we got
lefties.
6 weeks between now and then, and so like you said, they'll have a couple big events between then, the Players Championship and Memorial, and I don't know. I mean, I like to think that's that we're in line for that. I mean, I'm a nostalgic guy. I mean, I want to see these guys duking it out in every major this year if possible. But it just seems like, this is like the NASCAR scenario with the Daytona 500. I mean, we get the Super Bowl.
The best one first.
We get the Super Bowl right off the bat.
Yeah.
And this would have appeared, and that's why we started out this podcast with me saying that, I'm going to remember this week for the disappointment of Tiger and Phil not contending, because it seemed like that the stars were aligned here, and
but it never. I mean, that's in.
No.
It never does disappoint though.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you can't remember all of those back 9 charges, is because they don't always have the best players in the world or the most exciting players at the time.
Is that Jordan Spieth's personal logo? That thing in the back of his hat?
Yeah, they all have them.
They all have them?
Yeah.
Really?
Tiger's got his, the TW.
Of course, obviously.
Justin Rose has his with the little JR. So Zach Johnson has one.
Really?
With the Z.
Honestly, the only one I've ever known is Tiger. Phil doesn't have one.
Phil's got his silhouette of him when he won the Masters in 2004, was it? His first Masters?
That he wears on his clothing?
Yeah. It's like him doing like the...
Yeah. Where? Not his hat?
He's got it on, like wherever a typical logo would be on like a polo shirt or a button-up shirt. And he wears, and it's on his back, and it's on his... yeah. Oh,
John
boy.
Rahm just pelted a guy.
One of the patrons. No, that guy's inside the ropes. He's like a shot link guy or a
He
cameraman.
hits a low left stinger on number 8, his second shot. And some poor guy in the pine straw just had to jump away from it. Oh boy, that's not a good shot there by
he's in for par there.
That's 4 feet. He could make that.
So it'll be 4 going into number 8. There it
All right.
is.
Well, anyway, so I don't know. We were talking about apparel or whatever, but
yeah, logos, and then we were touching on some of the rest of the majors, and
there you
just kind of how the rest of the golf season is going to shake out. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, the best major ends today, and it is still one of my favorite Sundays of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put it right up there with I don't want to say the Super Bowl, but like, that first wild card weekend for the NFL, I think is one of my favorites. It's a lot of fun, but this is by far and away, no, the first college football Saturday. It's not a Sunday, but that's a big one. But this has always been my favorite. It will continue to be.
So
obviously, I'm biased because of my love for the game of golf, but I mean, we've been talking about it this week via text. We're going to have to find a way to get ourselves down there in the next 2 to 3 years. I would hope maybe 5 at the latest, depending on how things shake out.
It's just a tough ticket to get.
It's a tough ticket to get, but how cool would it be to do one of these podcasts from a hotel room or from somewhere outside of Augusta and just kind of talk about our experiences down there? And
brother-in-law Chris into the mix. Maybe get Nick James up there somehow. He spends a lot of time in Atlanta.
Well, I just don't want a guy that doesn't appreciate it, though. So, I mean, Nick, I love you, but you're not invited.
Oh, wow.
No, you're invited. Well, you know what? If we want to go out at night.
Nick would be just fine.
Going out with us afterwards and not going any zero of the golf events. Yeah. Yeah,
but then I want to see him in, shorts and a polo too. So there's.
Well, that's the thing. So and I don't know if it's true, for the majority. But I've heard this. You go to Augusta, and some of these patrons are wearing like golf shoes.
Yeah.
Like what? Like all of a sudden they're gonna. You know what? Can you step in and line this up for me? I mean, what's the point of that? Like,
that's funny. All right, final segment next. Masters Podcast, KRFORadio.com.